I've always related back to the client, like how much service could you provide for $300 a month?
Right.
So if somebody gets like a $300 a month, like, well, I got a cheaper deal, and we're a great deal, by the way, and but somebody's paying like something that doesn't hardly provide the ability of a human being to work on it,
Right.
and then expects it to be worked on. But it doesn't cost much to get this stuff to be done. We do have stuff for less than $1,000 as of this time frame. We're $99 to start as of this time frame, and we're month to month. So we have skin in the game when we start with somebody, and then if they don't like it, they can walk away, but we hope to keep a client for years and years.
We earn your business with results.
We do. We do. Most companies want to charge a lot of money down, and if they don't charge and give you almost nothing, or if they charge money down and give you almost nothing, and then tie you in an agreement and tell you it's going to take a long time.
Yeah, minimum 1 year or whatever.
It's going to take a while, Bob. It's going to take time. Hey there, guys. It's Nolan and Jason here with the Webmasters.
Howdy.
Today we're going to talk about, I guess, just why choose us. So, why would somebody pick us over other people? Yeah, it's I mean,
It's our channel. We can do it if we want.
Almost everybody out there has a cheap template website. It's never been worked on properly. It's got what they call sparse content, which is barely any or no content or copied content. The things that should have been done to set it up weren't done properly.
Right.
And
it was the minimal effort.
Yeah, their Google account's set up poorly, their website's set up poorly, the code base in the website's poorly set up. They didn't have citations done, there's no content on it, and nobody ever works on it.
Right.
And who set it up didn't understand the category they're in. So all the various things they could show up for have absolutely no chance of showing up.
Right.
And that just described like 98%.
I thought you were going to say 90, and I was going to push it to 99.
98%. I mean, we're not joking. So that is most of them out there. Now, the bad part about it is that most of these guys have tried it before, and someone said they were going to SEO it and do all this stuff. And then they didn't do it, and then most business owners are disillusioned, and they say things like, well, what are you going to do for me, Nolan? And everybody tells me that stuff.
Yeah, they hear the same stuff. They hear the same line of bull.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily what someone tells you they're going to do.
Theirs is a line of bull. Ours isn't.
What they're saying needs to be done isn't necessarily a line of bull. The bull is that they're going to do it because they don't.
They don't do it.
We actually do it, and it works.
Yeah. If most business owners have tried to pay for it and have actually never had it happen before.
Right.
So then you look at a web companies and you think, oh, this doesn't work properly. I'm one of the owners here, and I've done this for almost 10 years now. And Jason's director of operations, and he's been designing websites since
1997.
Since you could design a website.
Yeah.
So if you do this stuff properly, making things with custom code base, custom design, we don't purchase templates or themes, we write custom content, we integrate things properly on the Google My Business, the GMB account, we set up citations. Of course, these sites have SSL certificates and they're mobile ready, which is called responsive to any type of screen size they're on. So all of this is like highest and best practices.
Over 100 points of schema.
Over 100 points of schema code. Is a language that helps Google parcel the data that's there so they don't have to guess at things. And then schema also does other little nifty things like putting a pin on a map or showing 5 stars next to your name in search results.
Saw a great quote about schema the other day. It was like, schema does not tell Google what your content is, it tells them what it means.
Yeah, that's a great explanation of what it is. So Google otherwise really has to guess at stuff. So if you have a poor quality template, they didn't go in there and do this stuff. And I talk about, one thing I talk about nowadays is OEM. A lot of guys understand OEM, original parts, over like a retrofit or a non-factory inserted part.
Right.
It's far less quality, and most of the time when you get this stuff done, or all 98% of the time, and they give you this template and they start smacking stuff into it. Well, I'm going to get this cheapest website I could get.
I'm going to stick boxes on it.
And I'm going to stick content in it and have somebody else that doesn't really know my category write that. I'm going to slap on some review stuff and integrate that, and it's this clunky, unwieldy thing that still gets a really poor score from Google,
right?
Even if people try to do stuff. What the business owner doesn't know is that stuff was never set up properly in the first place, and therefore they get a poor score from Google, and then they never rank in their
They're
search
starting
rankings.
way behind the line.
Yeah. Search rankings are poor. Map rankings don't have as much ability. They don't even realize that since they don't have page content for their services, they absolutely have no chance to show up for those keyword terms or the map placement.
Right.
The map itself will show up if you have all the auxiliary services, but wouldn't have any basis to show up if you didn't have the page content coded properly for those services.
Google, for people that don't know, bases what services you show up for in mapping based on what's on your website.
Right.
So you need that content on your website for Google to know that you should show up in the Pack 3 on maps.
Right. And you can literally show up for hundreds of keywords or not.
Right.
So back in the day, Google would let you pick one category, and if you would only show up for the 2 or 3 primary keywords in your category. Now you can pick a few more, but the fact of the matter is your clients type in hundreds of things about all the different types of services, and if you want to have the ability to show up for all those, you have to have page content to substantiate that search. Google will not guess, oh, I'm sure Bob would love to show up for these lucrative keyword terms. Surely he does all this stuff that's common in this category, right? Yeah. Any contractor would do this, but
they won't make that assumption.
They won't make
that.
They
will
leap.
not.
So you could lose you are losing hundreds and hundreds of keyword combinations.
It's on Google, on the Search Console, the Google Webmaster tool. They will only display up to 1,000 keyword combos you show up for. It is commonplace for our clients to max that out, for us to be like, okay, you're showing for over 1,000 keywords. We can't even.
It is
say
very common for that, and every one of our clients on average has hundreds and hundreds, but when people come to us, they have like none or a handful, maybe anywhere from 0 to 50 that is tracked by Google Analytics in the top 100.
Right.
By the time we blow out a website with proper content and work on it regularly in proper code base, there are hundreds and hundreds of keywords moving up in rankings.
Yeah. We had a client launch recently that only had, I think they had less than 20 when they started with us.
Yeah.
And after 30 days, they had over 500.
That's awesome.
After only 30 days.
And it is typical. It is typical with our
this
stuff.
is a common result for us. We know what we're doing.
So I wanted to talk about something else in this. So it's why choose us over somebody else. Well, and I'll give a quick recap here. I'm telling you that no matter how good someone's sales routine is, and that's the whole problem with this industry, the client doesn't understand what's going on, hears stuff, and then signs up and work doesn't get done. And so what is different? We do custom design work. We don't purchase templates or themes. We do custom code base, lots of it, over 100 points of schema. We're huge on content. Almost half our staff is content writers.
Right.
And we write up front and continue to write for the client. That is the basis for keyword search. Without it, the keywords and the mapping won't show up anyway for all the stuff you'd like to show up for. We integrate lots of best practices and things that get a better grade and a score from Google. Every time we do stuff properly, you get a point. My dad's a CPA, and I explain this to people. If you had to look at our staff and you looked at a really good accounting office, because everybody's had bad accounting before. If you have a business, you don't want the people at the end of the aisle at Walmart doing your accounting, right? But that's what most people get for web work.
Right.
So if you had a great accounting firm that actually helped you and maybe got a loss carry forward or something, and had paid no taxes legally and worked by the rules, our staff of a few dozen here would have multiple CPAs in the office, which we would be the top level people. Then there'd be multiple levels under that of accountants, and then the rest of them are full charge bookkeepers that are competent.
Right.
That's what people are paying for bean counting work to get graded by the search engines. Yeah. And if you've never had this before, I'll say something else too, and I want to talk about our review, because our review reputation management software is bar none.
World class.
Yeah, just a superior platform. So if you have this stuff done, it works really well, and you probably never had it done before. And I want us to take it a step further. If you've never had organic search results for a client, as opposed to paying for clicks or paying for a lead, when somebody pays for clicks, it's probably the second best thing.
Right.
But they're clicking and like boom, 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 searching, and in that fashion, they're less likely to not shop. They're going to shop around.
Right.
If they called and bought a lead, the lead worst case is sold to multiple parties, and best case just to you, but in either case they bought into the lead structure platform and were sold on the branding of the lead platform, not your company.
Right.
And much more likely to shop. So these are places that is harder to make a good profit. People shop around more, harder to retain a long-term client. But when somebody finds you organically,
or a repeat client.
Yeah. Did I say it wrong? So if somebody finds you and they buy into your brand, they read your content, they see your reviews, things are integrated properly, they're beginning to buy your brand, and that's a better lead. If you haven't ever experienced it, that's the best lead there is, and they're much more likely to deal with you and come back there. You're spending money on your own company and your company's brand instead of pawning your money off for the next lead and building something else's brand up.
Right.
I'm not saying that buying a lead is a bad thing necessarily, because we're marketers here. I'm just telling you, it's not the organic is the best return.
It's not the best return on your dollar.
It's not the best return on your dollar, and you have this other whole thing called Google Local where they want to show you, because people actually call up looking for leads. It's like, well, where do you think these leads come from? And there's only like 3 sources to buy them from, and you guys all know where they're from.
And you all hate them.
Yeah, and you guys, so you can sidler up right there next to them or above them, and you can get into mapping, and they can't get in there, and you can get great quality leads, and that's worth paying for. And anytime I go look at this is a 300 to 500% better return off of paying for clicks or paying for leads. So I want to throw that out there. Right. And then lastly, I want to talk about righteous reviews. We have a software platform for reputation management that we currently are the exclusive providers for.
Correct.
No one else has this stuff. It was specifically made for a contractor working on a home, and you sit in a driveway. And so let's back up. So why, you know how we talked about slapping modules onto junk?
Right.
So there are several places you could get similar software.
There's multiple other review platforms.
But here's the difference. If the people who built the car input the parts onto it, so what you guys are basically doing is buying the frame of a car and then buying different parts from different manufacturers all over.
Yeah, you're buying a bunch of aftermarket stuff that doesn't necessarily fit.
You're not even buying good aftermarket stuff. You're buying the nastiest, cheapest stuff you could get and then trying to throw it all together when you buy bad web services, right? So we build the review software into the site with the intention of it working at a full capacity. And what I mean by that is that if you add on reputation management software and you had the ability to check in at a job site. So check-in is a what code? It's a schema
geolocation
code. It's a geolocation schema code.
Right. It actually gives geo coordinates for mapping.
It's actually called check-in on schema, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to get technical, it's check-in, and then you have geolocation, latitude, and longitude.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And you can throw in city and state and stuff like that if you want.
So why is this so important? It's important because normally when you get a review, it's like, oh, we already text and email clients. Now, if you don't do any of this, you got to get on the bandwagon really quickly.
Yeah, you need to start. That's the answer.
So because reviews really has permeated in through organic and validates everything. So the public is saying, hey, we like these people. It'll help your mapping show up. It'll help your web page stuff show up. And here's what we do different with it. Let me say one other thing. Reviews is one of those things. It's the only thing that the client has ever participated in.
It's the thing you need to do yourselves.
That you will.
We will provide you with the framework and the tool, but you have to use it.
So they will use it. The clients that we've had have never wanted to blog. We do the blogging, we write the content, and we do a great job of this stuff. But I'm just telling you that the contractor never wants to do this stuff.
Right.
But because you're at a site and you visually see the review pop up on Google, and it does help you, there's a reward and a direct correlation relationship.
Right.
And so the business owners are doing this, contractors are doing this. So this is something you can do that you probably want to do, but instead of just getting a review on Google and it's stopping there, so it might help your map, now you can get on your phone with our web-based app, Righteous Reviews, and say, I'm at Bob and Susie's house, It'll drop a pin on a map on your website within 2 blocks of where you are.
Right.
Grab a geolocation and do what's called a check-in, and then you can drop down and say, we're doing this service in this city. Now,
you can take a picture of the job you did and add that too.
And a photo,
right,
which is awesome. So normally on a poor quality website, you have no services to speak of, no cities to speak of. Then you have a high quality website like we do. Now all of a sudden the city pages and service pages are showing up better, and
they have robust content from day one. They've already got
robust content. They have robust coding. They have better setup. All kinds of stuff done better. But other people have city pages and service pages. So why would Google show you? Because you're just about the only guy in town that has these, and then you're probably the only guy in town that has them, that can then make city page check-ins, photos show up, service page check-ins, and getting unique data changes. On the photo, you can make a little caption. Just did this service in this city.
Keyword relevant caption.
Keyword relevant. Pictures show up.
You know, whatever type of job you did, you can put that there with the picture.
Yeah. So imagine having a site with dozens of pages and cities you want to show up on, and the services you perform all of a sudden have relevant, unique content changes with unique photos showing up. Right. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, nobody has that. And then, so you're here, it takes all of 90 seconds, boom, picture, here, did this service in this city, and your drop down will show what pages you have in your website that this will be applied to. And then you put down the customer's cell phone number at least, and maybe their email, and hit send. And at that time, automatically the client's going to get an email with your Google, Facebook, Yelp reviews, right? The links to your direct reviews. They're going to get a text if you put in their cell phone number and email. Then a picture is going to upload to the website. A check-in is going to upload to 2 pages. Let's say that you just only do 20 services in a month. All of a sudden you've made at least 40 changes to the website with custom content, which is crazy.
It is crazy.
Yeah, I mean,
and we did experiments with this, and Google respects the geolocation. They will increase the range of where you show up on mapping and show you up for specific keyword, location-based keywords like cities and stuff like that. They'll show you up for that when this information is there.
It takes actually the Google platform and expand. I don't know the ability for them to cross-check this stuff, but essentially if you get a Google review, they know where it occurred. They can IP ping people. They know where it originated.
Right.
But they don't know what you did.
Right.
Unless somebody typed in a keyword in there. Well, this is specifically with schema coded. We did this on this page, and here's the evidence of it. It's extremely specific. I have to think eventually they're going to like integrate this data, and get down. It'll take years for this to occur.
Right.
But once enough people are doing this and they have this minutia level of data, they can tell how many reviews this company is getting for certain types of services.
Right.
And then validate those services to show up better in search rankings. It's a more logical approach to how it's going to happen. It's just not time for them to delineate the data that much through the map portion, but they can go into your website and see these changes. And by the way, in case you don't know, if your website never gets worked on like it is right now, they probably almost never come back.
Right.
Every month or 2 or 3.
Yeah. The more often you change it, the more often they index you and add more stuff to which keywords you show up for. If they index you today and then come back in 2 weeks and they index and it's exactly the same, come back 2 weeks later, still the same.
They don't want to waste
then
their
they'll wait
resource.
for 30 days.
Yeah.
And eventually it comes out to where it's like a quarterly kind of thing.
Yeah. They don't want to waste resources sending the bot back. So so Nolan, why do people pay for this? Because to get all the scores, to have us get it show up, and why do you pay regularly for it? Because you have to have it worked on. You can't just throw it up and have it go stagnant. The internet's not a thing that is just there.
It's not a billboard.
Yeah, so if this were the case, we could have all gotten together as a community, as a world, and said, you know what? We're going to just get all this encyclopedia knowledge down once.
And we're done.
And then we're done. So every book and everything, and then we're going to have it, and then we're just finished, Everybody was here.
Kick back.
Everybody who was here right now is fine. And then once a year, if any new businesses want in, we'll input you in. But That's about it. It's a
alphabetical order, like the yellow
Yeah.
pages or whatever. Yeah.
We'll all vote on a. We'll all vote on a. You know, as a species, we can all wear this one outfit and search this data, and then it's over. But people think about the internet.
Somehow we went into a dystopian.
It reminded me of
THX
there was a
future
comedic
on
there's a Jerry Seinfeld had a deal like wondered why the human, because if you ever talk about we ever show other worlds, they always wear the same outfit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. In movies, aliens all have the same.
They all say
clothes.
that.
Yeah,
it's
they're
like,
all wearing a gray.
Why haven't we voted on
jumpsuit.
this? Yeah, it popped in my brain. It's completely random, but people do think about the internet that way.
Right.
It's like, well, I'll just put up my website. It'll never be worked on again, and then miraculously it'll show up in search rankings. Now, fortunately or unfortunately for you, it doesn't work that way.
An old colleague of mine used to call it Kevin Costner disease.
What is that?
If you build it, they will come.
Oh,
From Field of Dreams.
right. Oh, I was
And
thinking.
it's like, no, they won't.
I was thinking. Well, you could have a Waterworld scenario where these guys paid a ton of money and nobody showed up to their website.
That's more accurate. That's a terrible movie.
So you could have had. I mean, but sometimes guys do pay and don't have the websites done, properly. But if this stuff's done well, you get a grade, and then we're paid to work on code base and code base changes and content changes and blogging. We're paid to work on the Google My Business account. We're paid for the software license fee for righteous reviews, and all of this stuff jives better. And Google, you become the natural selection out of just what's, I don't know. You're just the correct selection.
Yeah, you just rise to the top. Yeah, you deserve the top spot. And as time goes on, we have part of our staff that their whole job is SEO research and staying on top
pay a lot
of
for
the
it.
developments.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the righteous reviews thing is, for instance, we had a review platform before that was good, and the capability to do what this is doing came up.
Yeah.
And now that's just part of our service. It's not.
It's upgrading again right
not
now,
a, yeah.
too.
It's not a nickel and dime thing. It's as upgrades happen and different stuff has to be done for good SEO, we roll that in and it gets added to our current clients.
Reviews became so primary.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it was obvious what was coming. That if we didn't want to have to pay third parties exorbitant amounts to include them, so that you got a full service of what you actually need to show up, then we had to produce it.
Right.
So we decided to invest money to produce it so that we could turn around to you at a better deal. And it's really not optional. So we don't give out a service that we do on a level that is so void of things that you have no chance of showing up.
Right.
We won't set out a website without righteous reviews.
We don't have a glorified hosting level.
Well, we talk about that all the time. But so when you buy a website from somebody and you pay almost nothing compared to what you would provide services for yourself, I always relate it back to the client. Like, how much service could you provide for $300 a month?
Right.
So if somebody gets like a $300 a month, it's like, well, I got a cheaper deal, and we're a great deal, by the way. And but somebody's paying like something that doesn't hardly provide the ability of a human being to work on it.
Right.
And then expects it to be worked on. But it doesn't cost much to get this stuff to be done. We do have stuff for less than $1,000 as of this time frame. We're $99 to start as of this time frame, and we're month to month. So we have skin in the game when we start with somebody, and then if they don't like it, they can walk away. But we hope to keep a client for years and years.
We earn your business with results.
We do. Most companies want to charge a lot of money down, and if they don't charge and give you almost nothing, or if they charge money down and give you almost nothing, and then tie you in an agreement and tell you it's going to take a long time.
Minimum 1 year or whatever.
It's going to take a while, Bob. It's going to take time. Well, if we got a client that has a website that's been up at least a year, and we do a proper website, within the first time that thing gets spidered, you're going to be able to henpeck in and start seeing keywords show up.
Right.
And the first results of Google Analytics, which might take about 6 weeks or so to show it, needs to get spidered and have a full 30-day turn.
Right.
You're going to see hundreds of % improvement on average, right? On average.
It's not unusual for us to see 500%.
It's not unusual, but I don't like
many
to.
times.
We don't blow smoke here, and so I can't tell.
It's not guaranteed. It's just something we see.
It's not guaranteed, guys, because we don't own Google. All I can guarantee you is that
on Google, I would not be sitting next to him doing this.
We wouldn't be doing this. I come to a trading place. We might be. Remember the end of Trading Places? Yeah. Looking good, Billy Ray.
Yeah.
Is it
sitting on the yacht, but at the tropical
a little
island?
toast to champagne toast in the tropical island.
There you go.
There you go. Anyway, but you need this stuff done, and if it gets done properly, this is what causes websites to show up. People don't just show up by accident, and your competitors are doing this and having someone show up. You need to get someone that's competent, that can do things that you can't do, and if you don't do anything else at all, you would participate in the reviews portion of it.
Right.
There's a few other things I always say people can do better than us, like maybe getting the review itself, although we can set up the structure around it better.
Right.
Without the software. That Righteous Reviews software takes that. We didn't say what all is. So you're getting reviews better.
Right.
You're texting clients. You're emailing clients. You're helping your mapping up. But now it's going on the website. Even if you don't get a review, the check-in counts as content that's very good content on the website.
Right.
So there's a
keyword relevant content, rich media with the photo, schema for geolocation, all of those things equal SEO. Every check-in,
So it's organic,
every review
yeah.
becomes an SEO boost.
So now your pages of content can have a chance to show up. They're different than your competitors because they're active. Your website gets dozens and dozens and dozens of changes, maybe hundreds, depending on how many times you do this every single month, and your competitors are darn near stagnant.
Yeah,
right?
This becomes a virtuous circle because the more business you get, the more check-ins you get, the more reviews you get, and then it builds on itself over time.
So why would they show? Why would they show your little city page next to your market where you'd love to provide services for a particular service? Because it's active. That service has pictures of services being done, check-ins and reviews occurring.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's showing up, and it expands everything from the organic side in the pages to the reviews and the mapping, and it beautifully brings it all together. And since it was originally built in and the short code was put on all the service pages and the city pages, and we cared enough to make enough service pages and city pages,
right,
instead of a cheap quality website, now you've like completely blown out the amount of keywords that you could.
Yeah, that review platform isn't just an add-on to the site that helps a little bit. It's structured and strung throughout the site as part of the fundamental build, and it helps the whole site move up.
So just to explain the other side of it, if you got a review put on after the fact, who put together the website did not write enough content on services and cities that you're in.
Right.
And then you went and got this put on afterwards, the short code that would allow it to show up in the app, that when you're sitting in front of someone's house, has no selection of service and cities because the short code's not on it.
Right.
But oops, it lets you check in and do stuff. Okay, fine. You just dumped all of your check-ins and all of your pictures on some gobbledygook page of nonsense.
Right.
Now, they can spider it and see that you're going places. They're like, oh, great, you're there. But it's not relevant to any of your services or cities that you're in.
Yeah, they'll see it and they'll respect it somewhat, but it's not nearly, because it's not cross-linked with the services.
It's not going to help those pages show up on an organic basis.
Right.
It will not, because you don't have them in the first place.
Yeah, it'll show, what it'll do is if someone Googles your business name or your service reviews, your reviews page might show. But your service pages and your city pages are nowhere to
Which
be
are
found.
the keywords that people type in to look for you.
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, ours has all of that as an original part integrated with the original thought process of having this done, and it's absolutely a beautiful deal.
Yeah.
Everything else, and then you pay us to do all kinds of other work on a regular monthly basis. That's good for me. I think that's a really good explanation. I'm happy with that. Guys, we'd love to hear from you. Just pick up the phone and call. We'll answer any questions you have. And we hope to hear from you.
See you
later.